Children targeted in Manchester concert carnage. We'll have the latest on last night's terror attack. And 2 girls from the Western Isles remain unaccounted for. Join us live tonight at 7 on STV2.
The award-winning Fair City, starting right now over on STV2.
This is STV.
22 people murdered and many more injured in a barbaric terror attack in Manchester.
Oh my God.
A suicide bomber detonated his device packed with metal as thousands of people left the Manchester arena.
My ears started ringing. I thought, what's that? And sort of looked back where the explosion was, and there were people laid out on the floor.
A teenage fan of the pop star Ariana Grande who was performing, and an 8-year-old girl among the victims. I'm live in Manchester where a huge police operation is underway. Homes linked to the bomber are raided as he's named as British-born Salman Abedi. Tonight, as a huge vigil takes place, community leaders join the Prime Minister in condemning the attack.
It is an absolutely barbaric attack that has taken place. To cut off young lives in this way, and it is absolutely devastating, and our thoughts and prayers must be with their families and friends.
From Manchester, this is the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
Good evening from Manchester, a city mourning last night's terrorist atrocity, the worst in Britain since 2005. 22 innocent people lost their lives here, including a girl aged just 8. The suicide bomber struck when the music stopped, just as crowds of young Ariana Grande fans and their families were making their way home. Theresa May said it was a sickening and cowardly attack. The Queen described it as an act of barbarity. This is the scene tonight in nearby Albert Square, where thousands of people are attending a vigil to show that this city will not be defeated. In a moment, we'll have the latest on the victims and the investigation. But first, our correspondent Martin Geisler reports on the Manchester terror attack.
The Manchester arena was packed to capacity last night. Young people buzzing with excitement as Ariana Grande performed. But just moments after the singer left the stage, this.
Oh my God. What's going on? What just happened?
First, there was confusion.
What's going on?
Then panic.
Oh my God! What's going on?
Screaming, terrified, they clambered to escape. Parents who'd come to collect their children looked on as the crowd fled the arena. The bomber Salman Abedi had targeted the main foyer, detonating his device as the concert ended, with people flooding towards him, ensuring maximum impact on an innocent crowd.
Quick, Corey! Which way? Come on!
Ariana Grande draws a young audience. This carnage was inflicted on children and teenagers and families on a special night out.
My ears started ringing. I thought, what's that? And sort of looked back where the explosion was, and there were people laid out on the floor. Turned around to look at my wife to see if she were all right, and she said, no, I need to lay down. So I laid her down on the floor, and I've laid her there with her, and I looked at my foot and saw that, yeah, my foot's got a gash in the foot. But I'm more concerned about my wife because she's got a stomach wound, a leg wound. They think she's broken her femur.
Everybody started screaming and scattering out, and me and my daughter was on the stairs, and somebody started climbing on top of her and climbing on top of us, and I had to pull her out by her arm and run out of the building, and that's all I heard.
The emergency services were quick to the scene, a huge fleet of ambulances to deal with dozens of wounded, some with life-threatening injuries. As survivors consoled each other outside, teams of armed police approached the arena, but Abidi had killed himself, along with so many others. The details of his victims are beginning to emerge. 18-year-old Georgina Calendar, a huge fan of Ariana Grande, she'd met the singer. And Safi Rose Roussos, just 8 years old. Theresa May paid tribute to the victims today and issued this defiant message on behalf of the country.
The cowardice of the attacker met the bravery of the emergency services and the people of Manchester. The attempt to divide us met countless acts of kindness that brought people closer together. And in the days ahead, those must be the things we remember.
From Downing Street, the Prime Minister travelled to Manchester, paying a private visit to some of the injured in hospital. But first, a meeting with senior officers at Greater Manchester Police.
I've been talking to the police about the investigation that is continuing, and they and the security services are working, obviously, to identify whether there was a wider group of people involved.